Perfect timing with the boat. We cued the boat just as the governor was coming in. Good morning. My name is Bill Rudin, and I am the chairman of the Battery Conservancy, a 25-acre park at the tip of downtown and the gateway to our great city and our great nation. It was the gateway for my great-grandparents who in 1883 came across from Russia, escaping religious and economic persecution, and came to New York seeking that freedom that we all enjoy today. They came they came with nothing in their pocket. They landed here, and they came into Castle Clinton, that was in the 1880s the first immigration depot in the country, and it was run not by the national government, by the federal government, but by the state. New York State ran the first immigration depot for over 15 years, and 9 million people, like my great-grandparents, came through those gates to step on the shores and look at what opportunity lay ahead of them, and providing opportunity. People like Governor Kerry's grandparents, Hillary Clinton's ancestors, and many, many others, 9 million. Italians, Jews, Polish, all over the world came through through Battery Park. And then Ellis Island opened in the early 1900s, where I believe the governor's family came through. So there's so much history down here, and I'm honored to be here to talk about a very important thing that just happened today because of the hard work of the governor and his staff. As we all know, the federal government has been shut down for over 13 days. And that includes closures of federal sites around the country, including national parks, and obviously the Statue of Liberty in Ellis Island. Liberty Island is home to one of the most famous statues in the world and had to close its doors on October 1st. And New York's tourism is feeling the economic pain of this closure. Approximately 4 million people come to visit Liberty Island each year, generating nearly $200 million annually in economic activity and supporting more than 2,200 jobs. Already more than 400 jobs have been lost because of the shutdown. 400 jobs in 12 days. Statue Cruises, which offers some of the best views of the Statue of Liberty, has seen a 50 to 70% decrease in ridership since the shutdown and has 180 more at risk. More than 10,000 visitors a day have been denied access to the statue, which each visitor spending nearly $35 a foot. You figure the math. That's not good, and we're losing tremendous amount of revenue. And the federal government also loses revenue, nearly $50,000 a day in concessions. The discord and gridlock in Washington is resonating here in Manhattan. But as we all know, that's not how New York rolls. Fortunately, the governor and his team have once again stepped up to the plate, not only for us New Yorkers, but for tourists around the world who will once again be able to visit the Statue of Liberty and see what opportunities lay ahead for this great country. I'm now pleased to introduce Mr. Brad Hill, President Evan Hill, the concessionaire on the Statue of Liberty Island.
Again, my name is Bradford Hill. I'm the president of Evelyn Hill Incorporated. We're a family business that operates the gift shops and restaurants at the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. We have been serving visitors there for over 82 years, and we've had our ups and downs, but this year has been especially devastating for us. After the terrible damage of Hurricane Sandy, Liberty Island was closed for 8 months. The Statue of Liberty has only been open 89 days this year. Ellis Island still remains closed to the visitors as it's being restored. As a result, our sales have dropped nearly 70% this year. And today, after 12 days of federal government shutdown, more than 160,000 visitors were denied access to the Statue of Liberty. So needless to say, after surviving a natural disaster, we were once again struggling to survive. We were forced to make the very difficult decision of laying off our entire staff, 110 employees. They lost over $140,000 in wages. That was devastating to them, their families, and we were heartbroken to do so. It is heartening to know pardon me, that when Washington, D.C. fails to deliver to Americans and there is no end to the gridlock in sight, we have a state that we can rely on to step up to the plate and take over critical responsibilities. Today, with the leadership of Governor Cuomo, we opened our doors again today and welcome back our employees. Reopening the Statue of Liberty was one of those responsibilities, and our business is one of many, many businesses that were impacted by this closure. With no visitors to come and buy at our gift shops or restaurants, there was no way that we could stay afloat. Our livelihood was completely dependent upon Lady Liberty, and we are so grateful to the governor for recognizing the importance of keeping this national landmark open to visitors from the world. Thank you, and it is now my honor to welcome the Governor, Andrew Cuomo.
Thank you very much. What a beautiful day to be here, and it's such great news. And we're all proud to be New Yorkers today. First, to Mr. Brad Hill, I want to thank him very much for being here and for the service he provides, and thank you for bringing back those 100 jobs. Let's give Mr. Brad Hill a round of applause. To Bill Rudin, who speaks to us today in his capacity with the Battery Conservancy, but Bill Rudin is a great civic citizen for New York. He wears many hats, so to speak, and he does great work for the city in a number of capacities. Whenever you need him, he's there. Let's give him a round of applause. Bill Rudin. I also want to thank Steve Briganti, who's here, who's president of the Ellis Island Foundation, and so many of you who are associated with the Statue of Liberty and the economic surroundings for the statue. As you know and as you've heard, the Statue of Liberty was closed. It was a byproduct of the shutdown in Washington that shut down national parks all across the country, and obviously that included the Statue of Liberty. The economic damage done by closing the Statue of Liberty is profound. You heard from Mr. Rudin, you have thousands of vendors who rely on the Statue of Liberty. Mr. Hill had to lay off 100 workers himself. About 400 workers are associated just with the Statue of Liberty itself and just with the transport to the statue. But you have to remember the Statue of Liberty is one of the main tourist destinations. And people come to New York to come to the Statue of Liberty, among other things, but the Statue of Liberty is a very big draw. When you close down the Statue of Liberty, you close down a good portion of the tourism that comes to New York City, and that has been untold millions of dollars in damage. So the state of New York said to the federal government, if you don't want to open the Statue of Liberty, we will. And we will pay for the day-to-day operation of the Statue of Liberty, and we'll pay until the federal government reopens. Because just on the economics of the matter, it makes obvious sense for us to pay for the cost of operation, which pales in comparison to the amount of money we're now losing. So I went to our colleagues in the state legislature, and I want to thank Senator Dean Skelos and Speaker Sheldon Silver for agreeing to this somewhat unusual state action, where the state will pay for a federal service, but in economic interest, it's clearly in the state's best interest, as we've seen already today. Statue of Liberty reopened this morning. People are starting to come. Today is hopefully intended to get the word out and let people know that the statue is reopened, even though the federal government hasn't yet begun to operate. And the last point is, beyond the economic sense, as you heard from Bill, the Statue of Liberty is more than just a tourism destination. It's more than just a creator of economics and a creator of jobs. It is probably the most profound symbol for freedom and democracy, certainly in this country, but possibly around the world. It was the statue that welcomed millions of immigrants to this state and this country. It was the symbol they were looking to see. It was the symbol that said it all. You're invited, you're welcome. We understand you're poor, we understand you're immigrants, but welcome to the United States, and we'll keep a light on for you. That's what the Statue of Liberty is all about. And as New Yorkers, we're honored to have her so close, and we have a special association and a special relationship with her. And to the extent we send a message today, we say we're not going to allow the Statue of Liberty to be closed, period. That message is too powerful. That message is too profound. That message has been carried for generations. And we're not going to allow that message to cease operation if we can have anything to do about it. So New York once again steps up. New Yorkers come together. And when things are tough and there are pressing circumstances, New Yorkers are always good at finding a way to get to yes and for reopening things and making things happen. And we did it once again, and it's my pleasure to be part of it. But congratulations to all of you, and thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Hope everybody enjoys this beautiful weather and maybe takes a trip across the water to visit the statue, enjoy the restaurants that are down here, take a walk in the Battery, and we're very excited. And thank you again, Governor, for what you did and really thinking outside the box and stepping forward. Thank you, and thank you all for coming.